What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We're here with some NFL DFS picks and lineup advice. FanDuel and DraftKings Monday Night Football single game showdown slate. Miami Dolphins, New Orleans Saints. This is one of the final showdown videos of the season. Remember, in these videos, we talk about low risk and high risk lineup construction tips, injuries and COVID news that impact the slate, and then strategies to help get you to the top of those contest leaderboards. I'm Brian Jester, co-founder here at Occupy Fantasy, single game $1 million winner. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the channel, get notified when we go live, upload any new videos. We're doing a 3K subscriber giveaway, so make sure you're a part of that. We'll announce that probably next week. Give us a thumbs up if you like the showdown content. We always appreciate that. Any questions you have, comment on the video below, or join our Discord server. Click the join button right below the video, occupyfantasy.com/discord to chat with other members of the occupyfantasy.com community. So let's jump right into it. Now, Saints and the Dolphins. The Saints, lots of COVID situations going on in New Orleans. So let's start there. You see here Taysom Hill on the COVID-19 list. He is out. Trevor Siemian, the backup, also on the COVID-19 list. He is out. Ian Book will draw the start. Let's find him. There he is. This slate came out after the news dropped, so Ian Book is priced appropriately. He is $9K in the flex. He's not your typical $6K backup or quarterback 3. Ian Book, rookie this year, former Notre Dame quarterback. And got to be honest, his scouting report, most of the strengths are about intangibles, nothing about his physical ability. And we'll see. Not high hopes for Ian Book, but he can run some, which is all we need in a showdown slate. Let's see who else we got here. If we keep scrolling, let's keep scrolling. So their tight ends are dealing with COVID issues as well. Adam Troutman on the COVID-19 list. Jawan Johnson also on the COVID-19 list. The only tight end they have on their active roster right now is Nick Vinnette, and he's 1K. They have another guy, Ethan Wolf, on the practice squad. They're probably going to call him up today. Let's see if Troutman or Jawan Johnson can get activated from list. It sounds unlikely. So Nick Vinnette at 1K, full-time tight end, going to play as many snaps as he can possibly handle. Expect him to be pretty popular tonight on DraftKings. Dwayne Washington, he's a backup running back. Doesn't get see any playing time, won't affect this game. Deontay Harris, also on the COVID-19 list, probably could have returned from his suspension tonight, but he's not. He's on the COVID-19 list. And then they have 3 or 4 defenders: Malcolm Jenkins, Demario Davis, Quan Alexander, 2 linebackers, and their strong safety on the COVID list. So injuries and COVID situations all around. On the Miami side, they just have Albert Wilson on the COVID-19 list, which opens up more snaps for Isaiah Ford, Mac Hollins, maybe Preston Williams. They do get Jaylen Waddle back, who missed last week's game as he was on the COVID list as well. So let's start with low-risk contests, 50-50s, double-ups, head-to-heads. If you've been here, you know. If you read our showdown guide, we try to get 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, lock up all the scoring in the game. There may not be a lot of it tonight. Should be a defensive battle. So if we try to get Alvin Kamara, Tua, Ian Book, and now the Miami backfield is pretty tricky with Duke Johnson, Myles Gaskin. Myles Gaskin was on the COVID list for a couple of weeks, came back, was activated, but Duke Johnson caught it from the practice squad, got almost all the touches last week against the Jets, 22 carries, 1 target. We look at Myles Gaskin, what he did. 10 carries, no targets. So out of nowhere, Duke Johnson became the lead back, was like less than 0.05% owned on the main slate on that Sunday. So we expect Duke Johnson to retain the lead role. It'll probably be more of a split than it was last week, but it's anyone's guess. The beat reporters haven't been very helpful in that regard. So expect Duke Johnson. If we had to pick one, it would be Duke Johnson for low-risk contests. He'll be the more popular of the 2, but maybe a situation to avoid because we've talked about this before, right? On DraftKings, especially the 2 quarterback, 2 running back approach, the one area where it fails or you have to switch it up some is if you have a high volume pass catcher. Normally we're thinking Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, but someone like Jaylen Waddle on a PPR site like DraftKings, who gets 10 plus targets, can rack up 8-9 catches, a little bit safer perhaps, and maybe higher owned than the Miami running back. So maybe you want to fit him in. So 2,600 left per player if we go this route. Obviously, the next move we need to make is Nick Vinnette, again, who's going to be 50% plus in small field contests at his price tag, is the only tight end going to play every single snap. Very rarely in this price range can you find guys who play every single snap. So Nick Vinnette's going to be that guy. 4,300, we like the kickers, we like the defenses in this game. Or if you want to fit in Jaylen Waddle, you can captain one of these lower price guys, fit Waddle in instead of Miami running backs. A couple different ways to play it, but the Vinnette pricing and Ian Book being a little cheaper than a normal quarterback certainly helps things out. Now, FanDuel, we have similar setup, right? So let's scroll up here. Kamara, Tua, Ian Book. Now, non-PPR site, Jaylen Waddle, 13K, a little pricier. Here's where we can fade him and play the running backs. And again, we like Duke Johnson. 5,500, we'll have to punt the final position because both Duke Johnson and Myles Gaskin are the same price, but you can fit both quarterbacks, both running backs, which is difficult to do sometimes on FanDuel. All right, what you're really here for, high-risk contests, GPPs, leagues, satellites, right? Exponential payouts, how to get different from the field, and a couple things that I'm thinking about here. First and foremost, Kamara going to be popular, but not like 40, 50% like we've seen him sometimes at the captain and MVP spot because one, they're underdogs. Two, splitting the workload a little bit recently with Mark Ingram, Ty Montgomery. I mean, we looked last week in a game they controlled just 17 opportunities. Obviously, the week before had 32 opportunities, and that's what we'd be hoping for in this spot. But Kamara, again, if Ian Book is somewhat competent, Kamara the highest ceiling player on the slate. So we like playing Kamara at the captain MVP spots. And how you need to get different because you got to figure everyone's going to play Vinnette if they drop down below 2K basically. So the best way to think about it is who can outscore Nick Vinnette. And to be fair, with a guy making his NFL debut at quarterback, for a guy who's not typically a pass-catching tight end like Nick Vinnette, he could put up just a couple of points. There are so many other guys in this range that can outscore him. Are they the most likely individually to outscore him? No, that's why Vinnette's the most popular. But in high-risk contests, we're playing for these end-of-range outcomes. So who can outscore him below the kickers and defenses? Isaiah Ford, going to see more snaps tonight with Albert Wilson on the COVID list. He's pricier, but he can get there. Ty Montgomery, a little bit of a hybrid role. Let's see his target share last couple of weeks. Had 4 rushing attempts 2 weeks ago, 7 targets, 2 targets last week. He has a possibility to get there, right? Durham Smythe, decent role in this offense. A few targets per game, could catch a touchdown, could see more targets, especially with Albert Wilson out. Maybe they run more 2 tight end sets. Matt Collins, touchdown or bust. Last 4 weeks, he just scored 0 or a touchdown, but he can get there, especially, again, Albert Wilson out opens up some of these guys. Adam Shaheen, he's back. Let's find him. Where is he? There he is. $200. When he plays, he sees targets. He could score more than Nick Vinnette. Okay. Anybody else we got down here? Let's see here. I think that's it. Kenny Stills. Did see 5 targets back in week 13. They cut him, brought him back on. He'll play some, right? Okay. And I think that's it. But we have, 6, 7 guys here that could outscore Nick Vinnette. So the key is if you're playing a cheap player in high-risk contests, if it's going to be Nick Vinnette, you have to have a lower-owned captain. You have to leave a bunch of salary. You have to do something different. Or you could just play one of these other guys that are going to be less than 10% owned compared to Vinnette's 20% plus in high-risk contests. Now, all of a sudden, you have a different lineup. Let's see here. Anything else we want to talk about? Jaylen Waddle, tons of upside in this game as a pass catcher. Mike Gesicki, also cheaper and makes for a great option at captain as well because of what he allows you to do with the rest of your lineup. But the interesting thing about Waddle, if people play Waddle, they're naturally going to pair him, especially most lineup builders, if you put in any rules, are going to pair him with Tua. So you get the quarterback wide receiver correlation. However, if this game is lower scoring, if Waddle racks up 7, 8, 9, 10 receptions, and doesn't have to score a touchdown, but he's the optimal captain because not many other players in this game score a lot of fantasy points, you don't have to pair him with Tua. That's how I won my million back in the Super Bowl. Julian Edelman, captain, didn't pair him with Tom Brady because it was a lower scoring game. Edelman got there on the catches and the 100-yard bonus. So I think a great way to get different with Jaylen Waddle tonight is either not pairing him with Tua at all or pairing him with the opposite quarterback in Ian Book because Waddle will be somewhat popular. We got 15% projected ownership at the captain spot, but almost all of those are going to have Tua in the flex spots. So playing Waddle without Tua, easy way to get different. Let's go back to FanDuel really quickly. We expect Tua to be the most popular MVP tonight. And you just have to think about this game in a couple of different ways. And it's really 2 different ways. Can the Saints be competent enough to stay in this game and maybe even control the game? And their defense is too much for Tua, who has struggled at times, and Miami hasn't fared very well against some good teams this year. Or is Book just absolutely terrible? They can't stay on the field, and Miami's offense runs 60, 70 plays, and it's a Miami onslaught. So think about it tonight. You can build lineups 2 different ways, or if you're building just 1 or 2 lineups, or you're building 150 in the same exact game script setup, pick one and go with it. We think that New Orleans sticks in this game a little bit, and maybe Ian Book they run a Taysom Hill type offense. He runs some. We've seen him have 15 plus carries in college before. Maybe they run that type of offense. Maybe the defense can put pressure on Tua, stop the run game, and this game is a lot closer than the line swing indicates. Because you got to figure, New Orleans was a favorite. Taysom, Trevor Siemian get ruled out. Now it swings all the way to Miami being favorites, and now 3-point plus favorites. And if that line swing isn't indicative, and maybe the Saints hold this to a closer game, then maybe those types of lineups look a little bit different than the rest of the fields. So that'll do it for this video. Appreciate you listening. As always, we'll have the daily plug up by 3 p.m. Eastern. The link's in the description below. Remember, the daily plug ranks every player, FanDuel and DraftKings, for different contest types, and then goes further in depth on how to build your lineups for each different contest on those sites. Incredible resource. Make sure you go check it out. The Occupy model's up and running. Projected ownership, rankings, FanDuel, DraftKings, Yahoo. And our lineup builder, always up and running, allows you to build up to 150 lineups with optimal lineup criteria. We put a lot of work into it. It's available for all of you. Go check it out. Links also in the description below. Before we get out of here, make sure you're subscribed. That'll get you entered into the 3K subscriber giveaway that we'll have more information on next week. And let you know, as our content schedule continues to change with Showdown slates winding down, NBA coming back into more of a focus, make sure you get notified when we go live uploading new videos. Give us that thumbs up. We appreciate it. Any questions, comment below. Hop in our Discord. Happy to answer them. So Brian, at Brian Jester FF from at Occupy Fantasy. Appreciate you listening, as always, and good luck tonight.